Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, David.
Good morning, Marana. It's a sunny, beautiful day here today on this Tuesday, May 7th. Can you believe it's May already?
It's crazy.
It's been going by so quick. But we're really excited to talk with our guests today. But before we do that, we're going to jump into weather and traffic with the one and only Scott Robb.
Good morning, everybody. We got a relatively new feature here with our traffic cam, in that we can look live and see what's going on. And right now, the good news is there's really nothing going on.
Beautiful.
So your commute is looking good. If nobody in Marana gets clipped by that train, then we won't have any backup there, and we'll be able to cruise all the way down for a safe and wonderful commute on this beautiful Tuesday morning.
Wonderful. What are we looking at weather-wise today, my friend, and the week?
Weather-wise, usually with weather, I switch to the weather forecast here. And then I go on living my life because nothing happens when I push that. So then what I do typically is I go to my phone, and it looks like it's 64 right now and sunny. We're going to get all the way up to 88, 89 degrees. Holy cow. Great day to use your pool this afternoon after you come home from work. I'd highly recommend that. And then for the rest of the week, we're going to be in those high 80s and into the low 90s by the weekend.
Back in the 90s.
Hey,
Thank
real
you,
quick
Scott.
before we transition, Scott, you need to get with Outside Verona and get yourself a little theme music there before you do your segment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I should just shamelessly plug the intro of
all day, every day.
Yeah. Now for your traffic, we switch over to me.
But first,
me. Okay, take it away, David.
all right. Well, we're so glad to be here this week. I know last week we had a pre-recorded session go out, but that gave us some time to catch up on a bunch of things that we're doing, and it's great to be back in the studio. And today we have Heather Lappin with us, who is running for Pima County Sheriff. And we're going to go ahead and ask you some questions and let you talk about your career and how you got to this point to wanting to run for Pima County Sheriff. So
thanks for being here.
Yeah,
Good morning.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you
for being
having
here.
me.
Yeah. And before we do that, let's get a little intro on you and talk about how you got here, how long you've been in law enforcement, what made you get into law enforcement.
Okay, so I hit my 20 years in December with the department.
Congratulations. Thank
you. That'll be, I started off in booking. My husband and I moved here from Phoenix in 2004, and I really thought I was going to be a stay-at-home mom, and that lasted a good 2 months. And so I got a job at the jail as a booker. So what I did was I was their midnight cash window
lovely
representative. So if you wanted to put money on somebody's books or bond somebody out, I was your girl. And so I did that. And I was hired pregnant with my second son. And so I went and had my second son. And so then I had a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old when I began the academy. So I started the academy 2005, and so then I've been a deputy I'll hit 19 years this year as a deputy. So
what? You weren't in law enforcement before you got here?
No, I ran IHOPs up in Phoenix.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I lived in Phoenix. We probably ate.
Yeah, you ate some of my
IHOPs.
IHOPs. Yeah, it was there was a franchise that I worked for, and I also was fortunate enough to be able to travel around with the corporation. Super young when I did it, but and opened up brand new IHOPs. So I did that. Wow. California, I did it in a few different places, and that was very interesting. So I've always had that training background, which is it lends to my career, what I did with my career. So. Yeah. And then, do you want me to just keep going?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. We want the listeners to know about you, especially when they're getting ready to go to the poll places or their mail-in ballots.
Perfect. So. So during the academy, I actually, towards the end, I got pregnant with my daughter. So I have 3 children, and that was unexpected. We'll just put it like that. And we tease her because she She was pepper sprayed. She was she did padded assailant. She did POPAT. So she did all these things when she was in the womb. And so we're like, well, that explains her, right?
Yeah.
And so, so then I worked patrol. I did the regular patrol assignments. I've, midnight swings. I've done all the fun stuff. I was put on a unit called SRT, which was our special response team. And that was a spinoff of Safe Streets. I don't know if you remember any of those units, but that was a good time. And then I went right from there into directed patrol, which was in Rincon. I did that on the east side. And then I went to the academy, and I spent a lot of time at the academy I started off as a counselor. I did that for a little while, and then I became the FTO coordinator, which is the field training officer coordinator. Left to promote to sergeant and went back out on the streets, and then I got pulled right back into the academy almost a year later after promoting to sergeant. Became the training center supervisor, so I was the sergeant of the academy, which was kind of, it's not exactly my role. I'll just put it like that. I say that because, they have that DI quality,
right.
And I don't have that DI quality. So I would just, walk up behind him and do the mad mom thing, like, where are your,
Actually, that's more fearful than the DI thing from my standpoint. Yeah. Sorry about that, Mom.
Yeah, so that was how that went, and then I left there to go to IA. So I went to internal affairs, and not my favorite job at all. I didn't love IA, only because you know what to expect. Every day is something. Somebody's mad. You're never answering the phone, and somebody's happy. So I worked that until I promoted to lieutenant. And then once I promoted to lieutenant, where did I start? I started in San Javier. So I worked in San Javier. And then, I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember. Well, then I went to Green Valley. And after Green Valley is when I was given the IGA, which is the intergovernmental agreement with Arizona Post, and that is our governing agency for law enforcement. Mm-hmm. And I worked with them for a year. So I traveled around on their leadership team and taught leadership throughout the state at the law enforcement agencies. That was an amazing job. I loved that.
When was that? Just kind of, I'm trying to keep time references here. Let's see, 21, 22. It's probably 22, 23. So just real recent.
Yeah, pretty recently. They had invited me to a class. And I don't even know how I got invited, but I got invited to a class, and it was a presenter class. And so you go up front, and like every 5 minutes you're up front doing some kind of impromptu speech or something like that. And so out of the state of Arizona, I was chosen. So to be on that team. So I worked on that for a year, and then I came back and I was put into training again. So I went back to training. So I was the training section commander. So that way I had the academy and I had the range. So I handled all the training out of the range as well. So I am a firearms instructor. So it was okay for me to do that. And that was a great job. And then I moved to wellness from the training section, and it was then I moved to the jail. So I'm at the jail right now.
Wow. You've accomplished a lot.
I'm thinking those last couple of years were really prepping you for the position you're seeking now.
So it's interesting you say that. And I think it's important. It's an important thought. It's an important, what am I trying to say? It's important to think this way, I think, because in 2021, the new sheriff came in, and it was widely known that I was not on the right side of that election. We'll just put it like that. Mm-hmm. And so immediately when they came in, that's when I was transferred to Green Valley. And, in my mind, I thought it was the end of my career, because I was, never going to get promoted again, because I wasn't their people. And so really I started focusing on me, right? Mm-hmm. So I started focusing on me and not them. I wasn't going to let them ruin me. And so I went back to school. And so this is kind of funny. I started my undergraduate in 1992. I finished in 22. And
So it just takes a while.
and Saturday I go to Flagstaff and I graduate with my master's.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
So one took 30 years. One took 30 years. One took a year and a half.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I just kind of focused on me. It wasn't for this though, because I never in my life thought I would be sitting here running for sheriff. Never, never, never. But I also never thought my department would look the way it does. So it was, it was me standing up and saying, I had to do something. I'm not trying to be a martyr. I'm not trying to do anything like that. I just, somebody had to do something. And I previously for a year, at least a year, I asked everybody. Like if you had a pulse, I was asking you, hey, do you think you want to run for sheriff?
Sounds like us.
Sounds like us. Oh, man. How many people did you ask? Just out of curiosity.
I bet you I asked 30 people.
Okay.
Oh, she got us.
Yeah.
I don't
more.
know. I've asked 30 myself.
Yeah.
I've gotten
I'm
30
at 20.
flat nose. Well, I got one, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, big fat nose is what I got. And then
Some really weird looks too, right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, and you were serious.
I was
because
dead
you were
serious.
asking people you felt
serious.
could do the job, correct? Or
Yes. Because in my mind, it wasn't me. It was I had to find somebody else to do the job. And at some point, the voices that I was surrounding myself with started to say, "It's you."
They were giving you that feedback.
Yeah, it's you. And once I started getting that, I thought, well, okay, here we are.
When was that? Just again, time frame for me.
So I started talking. I announced late October. I think I announced late October. So it was over the summer, and I had met some other people. I knew some other people were running, and because another Republican candidate had come out in April, and I knew he was running, but. The bottom line is that we have an old-fashioned version of leadership in our department, and it's just not working. And so I knew what the other candidates brought to the table, and so I knew that wasn't the answer to what our department needs. Our department needs change, and it's not getting changed. So that's why I stepped up. We have to do better for our people. We have to treat our people better. And I think it's a lot about the foundations. So our foundational, what we base our decision making on has to be healthy. It has to be above board. It has to be morally correct. And so I have a value system that I personally base my decisions on. But in leadership, I think if you base your decisions based on them or yourself, you're going to crumble. And then if you base your decisions on the people and what's right, then your decisions they're better decisions. And you don't have what we have now, which is a toxic place to work.
I got a couple questions for you. When you're talking about the leadership and how it's going right now, what is the biggest problem with what's going on with the Pima County Sheriff's Department? And you could say, hey, Dave, I don't feel comfortable answering that on camera and on audio, but is it more internal operations issues or is it more exterior stuff going on? So what would it be?
I'm fine answering it. I've gotten in much trouble for my radio shows, so it's internal.
Okay.
It's absolutely internal. But again, your internal is deciding how you make decisions on the outside. So it's your relationships you have with the community and the leadership in the community, and it decides the people you put. Leadership is influence, right? If you ask anybody the definition of leadership, the word influence is in there, and so. As the sheriff, you basically get to decide who has influence over everybody because you get to put them in place. And so we don't do a good job right there. That's where we fail internally. And so I think we need to do better at focusing on character and competency over loyalty. And that is my personal number one. I think we lack we lack an ability to see to do what's right, despite it maybe making us look a little bad, or maybe making us, I don't know, have problems down the road. We need to do what's right no matter what, and we don't do that.
Yeah.
And so, and I might sound naive, and I get that. I totally get that. I might sound naive when it comes to that, but in my little sections, I was able to do it, right?
Yeah.
So I was able to do it. I've run nonprofits. I can do it.
Yeah.
I know I can do it. Is it going to be easy? No, it's going to be the hardest thing that's ever to turn a culture around in this department that has been, treated the way they have. And the other thing is we've had turnover. We've had huge turnover in our department, and we've lost a lot of great men and women. Either to Marana, DPS, and a lot of retired guys. A lot of guys have retired and gone to other agencies. We have a lot of that happening, and it's not the brand new guys that are leaving. It's the
seasoned vets,
the ones you need on the street.
Yeah, those guys that are going to teach the other guys and girls how to do things. And so, back to your question, I think. The other word I like to throw out is that internal procedural justice. So if you don't have that, if you don't have procedural justice in a community, then the community doesn't feel like you have legitimacy. The same thing happens internally. When you don't have internal procedural justice, when your processes are so skewed and everybody knows, oh, I'm not testing because I'm not their people, or I'm not testing or I won't get this job, and it happens over and over and over again, then you lack procedural justice internally, and therefore people are complying with your rule. People are complying with your leadership. I don't want compliance. I want collaboration. It creates a better environment.
So I think we've talked about something like that before, where it's like the good old boy system, right? And I think so. I've been in a couple different agencies, in my career before here. I shared with you the other day when we were doing a video thing that I worked in law enforcement, and I think there's always been conversations like that every now and then, because you will see it and you go, that there's some stuff there that did not make sense. Right. You'll hear people did really well on certain testing aspects, and then you get floored by going, what? Right. There's just some stuff that happens that doesn't make sense. So I think, and you're right, it kind of demoralizes culture when that you're allowed to have that. And there's one thing too that you said about leadership, and you were talking about how it's the meaning of it includes the word influence. It doesn't have title in there.
Right. No, there's no title.
There's no title. It does. Yeah. So it's like, I get what you're saying there for sure.
I think it's funny because people seem, even my husband was commenting this morning about my look versus maybe my opponent's look or my competitor's look, right? And I'm like, first of all, I'm going to tell you that I'm authentic. Like, you're going to get Heather. Like, I'm not pretending to be anything that I'm not. And, and a lot of people think, they expect this, Annie Oakley to come slinging guns, I'm like, well, I can sling them, but, I would prefer to have my hair dyed and my nails done, like.
You guys are going to go back to cowboy hats out there?
But, people have this perception based on the look. And I think we confuse that in leadership also. You have the bars, you have the stars. It doesn't make you a leader at all. What makes you a leader is your ability to develop, to empower, and to move people to want to be better versions of themselves. And I think once you get to that point, again, I get it. And I've heard the critique. Oh, she just, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's never run an agency, whatever. I understand that, but I know what happens when you treat people right. I know. I've seen it.
So people that are outside of the agency, the regular run-of-the-mill citizens that are out here in Pima County, why would they vote for you? What's going to change their perspective on this? What's going to help them vote for you?
Okay, wonderful. So community service, we have amazing people that work for us right now. I won't say that we don't. Our dispatchers are top notch. We have corrections officers that are great. Our deputies, wonderful. But what's happened is when you lack foresight, when you lack strategic thinking, and when you make decisions based on immediacy and not what the future is. And what I mean by that is we have a quantity over quality mentality right now in hiring, which I get is a generation thing. Okay, I get it happens everywhere. I don't think we've seen the problems I don't think we've seen the consequences that are going to come from those policies from this administration. I don't think we've seen the consequences, and that is going to be what the community feels. The community is going to feel the consequences of those policies. I will have a strategic plan. I will have standards for our employees. I will make sure. It's basic psychology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you come in and I just hand you a badge, you don't feel pride for that. You don't feel like you've earned that. If you come in and earn that badge, if you come in and earn that, and I made you take a written test, and I made you pass a written test, and I made you do a physical test, and I made you, you know how proud I was when I graduated the academy? I was beaming with pride. Like that was one of the hardest things I'd ever done. But when you take away the standards because you want to do quantity over quality because you're panicking over staffing, which I get. I do understand that. I'm not blaming them. I'm just telling you what we have. You're going to have problems in the community. And you're going to have liability, which is going to cost taxpayers money. The other thing they're going to see differently from me is resource allocation. And resource allocation will not be based on pandering to anybody's opinion. My resource allocation will be based on what is best. Right now, we are burning our deputies out. We're burning them out. They're understaffed. They're just out there doing the best they can to get to calls. And I want to treat them better. So I want to give them the resources they need, not put resources in units that pander to votes.
Right. Right. I understand. When we're talking about how the community is going to feel the consequences of what you're describing is going on, and when we talk about the liability factor of this, and you're talking quantity over quality, when you're talking resources, does pay and benefits have a lot to do with the quality you're getting?
So here's the deal. We just got a great raise, right?
Okay.
We had a CBIZ study. I'll give the sheriff credit. He did a really good job of working with the board of supervisors to get us that money. That was long due, right?
Yeah.
Long due. He absolutely did that. But if you read any studies on pay lasts for 2 pay periods. You're happy with your raise for 2 pay periods, and then it's over. Then you're not happy anymore. Like that's literally how long it lasts when you get a raise. But so no, I don't. I believe there's maybe 10% that are is affected by the pay that we have. Because Marana makes more. You know, the cities always make more than the county. We've always had that, but we've always had the best equipment, and we've always had the best, I remember when I went to the academy, we got take-home tasers and TPD didn't. I mean, obviously that's changed now, but we've always been on the cutting edge of that. So there were reasons you went to the county. The other reason you went to the county was because they were allowed to do their job.
Yeah.
They were known for handling business, right? For making sure that, if somebody needed to go to jail, they went to jail, right? And so that's the other thing that's going to happen when I'm sheriff is that not only am I going to back the people, but I'm going to allow them to go do the work that they want to do, they signed up to do, without holding them back and having that fear of, okay, well, are they going to protect me or are they not going to protect me? And I think that's a concern that our deputies have currently.
Right. Have you seen a lot of talent leave the organization because of the testing processes within for different specialty units and stuff? Those folks not getting those gigs or getting selected because of what you were describing as, part of the good old boy system or anything like that? Were you seeing a lot of talent leave for that?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Some of the guys that and I say guys because I don't think there's been any girls that have left to go to Marana, but when I was still at the training center, they were coming back and helping us with padded assailant. And they were helping us with, just all kinds of training. And they're amazing for Marana because they were amazing for us. We, as you probably know, to become an instructor, you have to go be a general instructor. Then you have to be, you could be firearms instructor, physical fitness instructor, defensive tactics. And so that takes a lot of time and money and energy to get them to these schools. And then you have to pass because not everybody always passes. And so those are the people who've left us. Those people that have all those certifications and qualifications. And like you said, the guys on the streets that know what they're doing. We recently had a sergeant leave, and he was he was the sergeant at the range. We have a wonderful sergeant there now, but he left because of all of the, I don't know how else to call it. Just the drama, the drama involved in everything. There's bias towards certain units from this administration, and it's very obvious that there's bias towards these units. And so he was a SWAT guy, and there were some things that went down. And so he said, you know what, I'm just going to pull the plug. And now he's at the airport. Okay. So the airport has this resource that was phenomenal here in the Pima County Sheriff's Department. But he when you get to a certain age, you decide that you're not going to deal with the BS anymore, right? Yeah. So you're like, I'm good, I'm out. And so yeah.
Wow. I got to tell you, Heather, I've thought this whole conversation, you had me at, you asked 30 people that you felt were highly qualified to do this job. And at some point in that process, you went, yeah, I think I'm going to have to do this myself.
If not me, then who, right?
Yeah. And you know what? That, having been there, not in law enforcement, but that's hard to do because you didn't want the job. You're not seeking the job from the standpoint, I want to be the sheriff. You're seeking the job of sheriff of Pima County because you see a need, and quite frankly, you're the solution to that. Is that? I mean,
I think so. I think so.
Most leaders that I've experienced, especially great leaders, don't really want to do the job. They would much prefer someone else step up and do the job. But I commend you for, after striking out 30 times, saying, well, you know what? I guess it's me.
Yeah, it had to be somebody. And like I said, it was probably over a year that I was asking people. And I asked very prominent people in Tucson, too. I asked somebody up in Phoenix to come down. And,
wow.
The thing is with, and people had told me, this is going to be so hard. This is going to be so hard. They're going to come after you. They're going to come after you. Oh, boy, are they coming after me. Yeah. So the pay is negligible. I don't know if you know that. Between what I make now and the sheriff, it's negligible. Like it would not be worth what I'm doing right now. So there's no,
there's no personal or financial incentive to do this.
I'm not trying to say, oh, look at me, I'm a martyr. But I'm not doing this for anything like that. I'm doing this because I watched, and I really wasn't treated that bad. Okay, I wasn't. The only thing what happened to me is I was passed over for promotion. Okay, big deal, whatever. Yeah. I had a plan, right? I got my master's and I'm going to go teach for FBI LEDA. That was my plan. I was fine with that. Just watching how people have been just destroyed, and they are our best and they're our brightest, and they were just knocked down. And so watching other people get treated like that is why I'm sitting here today. That is why I'm right there.
How do people find out about your campaign? Where can they go?
Awesome. Yes. Thank you.
How can they help?
So I'm going to be putting a video out here in a second.
Oh, yeah.
You might know a little bit about it.
Oh, okay.
I heard something about that.
Draft approved, I guess.
Draft approved. Did I not tell you? So my website is heatherforsheriff.com, and that's the number 4, heatherforsheriff.com. And right now we're have a 50 for 50 initiative, and that's $1,050 donations to raise $50,000 for Q2 fundraising. We are leading fundraising right now after Q1, and so we want to keep that momentum going. And so I would really appreciate your support.
Awesome. Well, we thank you so much for being on our program here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're always welcome in the future, as this continues, because this is going to go on for a while, right? All the way to November.
All the way to November.
It's in for the long road.
Yeah, the primary is July 30th. Don't
July
forget
30th,
that.
yeah.
July 30th is the primary. Early ballots come out July 3rd. So if you're a Republican or you are an independent, you can choose a Republican ballot and you can vote in that primary.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to break.
Thank you.
Discover the power of 88 Crime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash. When you call in anonymously with the tip, you are given a code. With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward. Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
Are you looking to establish a powerful online presence for your brand? Look no further than Live the Dream Media. Our team of experts possess the capabilities and skills necessary to make it happen. From creating compelling content to analyzing data and making strategic decisions, we've got it covered. Don't let a lack of social media know-how hold you back. Visit ltdmedia.net for more information.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in Southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Hey, we're back. Thank you for the sponsors on this program, Zelda Allen and Copper Creek Cookies and 88 Crime. We appreciate everything you guys do. And, if you're looking for somewhere to donate, 88 Crime is a good spot to go and donate. It's a non-for-profit. A lot of people don't know that. I think it's just like an extension to the Pima County Attorney's Office, but it's actually a non-for-profit.
Kind of like folks think that local Marana is an extension of town of Marana, too. And it's not.
I know. We spent some time doing that, huh? Well, it's good. That was a great session with Heather. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot about her and hearing all the different things. You never know.
Yeah.
You got to take time to read into these candidates. And one thing that people are really horrible at, whether it's by choice or ignorance, is doing that. And it's really important to do. I think I encourage listeners and viewers, understand the candidates. Understand them. Why? Why are they running, right? There's a huge component. You hear her life is fine.
Yeah.
Right? She reached out to 30
it would be
people.
Probably better and less hassle and less grief if she wasn't choosing to do this.
Yeah. So it's just eye-opening when you hear somebody say, I reached out to 30 people before I decided to take this on, right? And it's it says a lot about the person.
Yeah.
Like, not only did she identify people she felt was talented enough and gifted enough and responsible enough to run for this position. I mean, reaching out all the way into Phoenix, but it's like, it's really important to understand that. I haven't heard that before from a politician. I hate to say politician.
Well, she's not a politician.
She's a
practitioner.
Yeah, she's a practitioner going for a political.
Yeah.
Well, the sheriff's position is a political.
It's political.
And I have never heard that before. I've never heard one say, "Oh yeah, I tried to convince several other people to do it." Usually, it's a lot of people just looking for the sun, right? They're just looking for the light to whatever reasons. But no, it was great. Let's get into this stuff, man. What's on your mind?
That's our that's of all the ills that we have as a society. I think that's it. It's people just. And I think we're all guilty to some degree of letting the other guy take care of it. Well, but that's why we have so many issues that we're having to deal with right now is because people won't take, it's more than 5 minutes, but 5 hours and investigate what's going on around them and who might have the solutions. I think that's our problem. And I think it's unfortunately a small, tiny minority of people that actually – for a while, I was challenging people, especially ones that were moaning and groaning about things, the way things were, and I would just say, well, who's your mayor?
Right.
Probably 7 out of 10 had no clue who the mayor of their local town was.
Wow.
Well, then, you know what? Just go sit in the corner.
Or the people that complain all the time. You go, hey, did you vote?
Yeah. Did you vote?
No, I didn't.
Who's on your council?
Yeah.
You got any clue who your precinct committee person is?
Yeah.
They don't have a clue.
I'm kindly going to need you to shut up and go away.
Yeah, just stop. When they're talking national, I had a little test. It was always, who's Secretary of State?
Yeah.
That ought to be something everybody that's just complaining, we should know. And if you don't know who the Secretary of State is, then you know what? There's no dialogue going to take place here now.
I think a lot of people here know who the Secretary of State was and who it is now, but it's due to the person becoming who they are now.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to name drop.
And you just got to educate yourself. That's my biggest thing. And I don't think most people, our audience notwithstanding, they're watching, they're checking everything. But it's the other 90% of you that's just not paying attention. But they're not hearing this anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Right. You know, so
I'm not cynical, but I'm realistic.
Right.
Big difference.
Yeah. Hey, there's a couple things I wanted to talk about today.
Okay.
And the first one is, I remembered what it was the town of Oro Valley pulling out of Visit Tucson and seeing the response from the hotels in regards to that. It was less than pleasant to see what they were saying. And it brings up a lot of questions, right? You have to wonder why, right? We always ask the question, well, why? I think it's always important to ask why. And one thing I noticed about a lot of the articles where it seems that some of the smaller municipalities in the area are working to becoming their own DMOs, right? So they're working to become their own tourism agencies per se. And you have to wonder, is it a desired thing? Is it out of necessity? Is it a fun project that the government's weighing in on and investing in? Or what? Or were there problems procedurally? Were there problems that were, caused by working with a non-for-profit? Which in my opinion, I like what Visit Tucson does. I think it has a role, right? I think it's very prominent and it's a great program. But it's as a non-for-profit and stuff like that, I have a hard time addressing what is really going on with its goal. Right. I understand you want people to come and tourism and all that stuff, but it's like, if you have so much money coming in, what are we doing?
David, why did you open this can of worms?
Because I'm curious. Why?
Because here's the thing. And I'm really the wrong person to discuss this with.
Why? Why are you?
I am cynical about a lot of this because I realistically have seen the way things work. These are.
Forgive me, I'm popping open a cold one.
Yeah, and I've just seen the bureaucrats, the non-for-profits over the years, and we're not talking over the last 2 or 3 years, or I mean decades. They're just clueless. They have no idea what their real agenda is. They are. You mentioned non-for-profits, okay? And matter of fact, as soon as we're done, I'm going to the Board of Supervisors to sit with the non-for-profit group that I'm a board member of, that I believe fully in. But I see so often there's really no skin in the game. They don't really have a clue of what they're doing. And I would argue that in many cases, most of the times, what needs to happen, and I don't know much about Visit Tucson, but I have seen some of the numbers, and it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
It really. I'm a numbers guy. I've looked at some numbers.
You're making sense of things,
and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, this does not make sense to me.
Yeah.
Now, maybe I'm missing it completely. Maybe I'm only getting one sheet, and there's 40 sheets of data. But how about this? How about Visit Tucson, which the people that run Tucson, and I would argue poorly in many cases, especially now. And if you don't believe that, drive around Tucson, the holes in the roads and all kinds of things. How about taking and hiring an agency that actually knows what they're doing? Tell them what you need, and then hire that. Here's I'll wrap it up with this portion of my statement, my rant. You're elected or you're working a job for a municipality.
Right.
That's your job. I don't need you to be great at everything. I need you to be great at basic one or two things. Good roads, safe communities, and et cetera. I don't need you to be great at tourism. Hire somebody that's great at tourism. Tell them what you need. Tell them what your expectations are.
Right.
Hold them accountable, and let them earn. Let them earn the right. Because the minute you take skin out of the game, and that's where we're at right now. See, that's that bigger problem that we have, David, is most people aren't educating themselves on some of the basics. So it's just like let's just throw a bunch of money at it and maybe we'll get lucky.
Yeah.
Glenn, I got to pile on with you on that because when you think about annual budgets that governments have, and if you're going to hire a full-time employee to do a service that they may or may not know how to do, such as advertising, but you're going to task them with that and all of these other hats that these new employees get tasked with. Now, let's say you're paying them 70 or 80 grand, and then you got to pay an extra 35%. You're over $100,000 into this employee that you're now committed to year after year after year. Whereas if you have a specific objective and a goal, you give it to a subject matter expert. Imagine what you could do with that $100,000 in a year with somebody that knows what they're doing to advertise for your community or your hotel or whatever it is. And then if it doesn't work out or things get lean, you don't have to keep that employee. Whereas like we're committed to retaining employees for good reasons, but now you're committed to that $100,000 plus a step raise every single year until that employee decides to leave, rather than using smart money to invest in somebody that knows what they're doing. So I fully agree with you.
Yeah.
On
well, he said it eloquently.
Yeah.
But that exactly, Scott. I've just seen it so long. And again, this isn't at Visit Tucson or any specific organizations. I've just been around a long time, and I've just seen this, and it's progressively getting worse.
Yeah.
Too many people are doing jobs that they're just not qualified for. Too many organizations, too many bureaucracies, too many municipalities are getting way outside their bailiwick. I'll use a little.
Yeah, I would agree on that, man. I'm seeing interesting trends where it seems like some of the municipalities think they're a business.
I think most of them think they are. At some point.
It bothers me because I remember being a servant in a municipality, and I remember that the pride that comes with that, and the part of the pride that comes with that is that you understand the people in the community are the ones who are paying you to deliver on that service.
Okay, what does that make? What is that? So how does the hierarchy work there?
And
I unfortunately am one of those guys that on occasion, I hate to do this, but like you work for me, it's not the other way around.
Yeah.
And I get that feeling even more so. I'm 66. I've been through this close up for 45, 50 years. I've seen it happen. We went from it's not one of those know your place, but know your place. Know what your role is.
Right.
And you and I both know what we're referring to here now.
Yeah.
And it's like you're not a business. You're not a brand.
Yeah.
You're a public servant and or entity. That's your role. Don't get outside your lane. Matter of fact, you're competing now
against the private market.
And How does that work?
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to OV, right? So that move to me says, and I could be wrong about it, and that's okay. This is just my opinion, okay? And if anybody from the town of Oro Valley wants to come on the show, by all means, come and talk to us about it and inform us and educate us and everybody else.
Absolutely.
But to me, it seems like a move where you think you can do it better. And I would challenge that, just like the hotel owners did, El Conquistador and some of the other ones. I would challenge that because what do you have in place to do that?
Well,
one of the things I was told in person by one of the hotel managers was there was nothing ready to go.
That is a fact.
Yeah. So to me, it's like,
I was there with you.
If we're in business world, right?
Yeah.
You got to have the product ready before you go on and you start bringing people in, right?
But Scott, and welcome to jump back in here. Scott said it so eloquently. Is no again? I'm putting words in his mouth, but here's what I think he said: is know your place and know what you need, and then get the best person to do it. And I would argue, in most cases, it's an outside entity that has the outcome of whatever the situation is vital to them, because if not, we're going to get somebody else. In other words, the best person for the job wins.
Yeah.
And that's the way private enterprise works. Best idea wins if you're successful.
Yeah, I agree. What you're going to hear on the other side of that argument that I've typically heard before is, well, this gives us greater control over what's going out there, because we have deeper pockets. People can sue us for less, and so we need control. We need to vet every single one of these people out. But all of that does is inflate government. Mm-hmm. And that's not really what we're looking to do in this day and age, is to continue to inflate government. What we're looking to do is use it efficiently. And the most efficient use of something like this is let a subject matter expert handle it, and then fire them if they're not doing a great job. Like, you still have control over that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to say that there's people that can't handle it. I think there's some municipalities have done a really good job at it, but the people they brought in were highly talented folks. Mm-hmm. And what I'm trying to get at is where in Oro Valley, there's no name, there's no one to say who's going to be doing this. In other places, the talent that was brought in was known, right? To do this. Again, you hired somebody really, really talented, been in that world. But in Oro Valley, there hasn't been anything about a person or what talents coming in.
They didn't move to plan B when they left. They just left.
Yeah, I know other places already had that plan in place.
Now, what little I know about it, and I'm open to sit and talk to anybody about any of this from Oro Valley. I live in Oro Valley. Yeah. There's my tax dollars generated in Oro Valley are being spent on this. I want them to be utilized.
Yeah.
But I think it's back to that kind of like, they're not doing a great job. Maybe we can do better, but they had no plan when they did it. It's almost a lesser of two evils for me.
And I know people are going to go, well, why are you guys talking about Oro Valley stuff on Local Marana? Well, here's the reason. That has a huge economic impact on Marana as well.
Right. And for the record, Marana left Visit Tucson years ago.
Yeah, but look what they're doing there, though.
They had a plan, or at least they're getting towards a plan.
Everybody knew. Most people knew what was going to happen, who was coming. Like, it wasn't like, oh, we're just going to do it, and then just abruptly no plan.
Let me go ahead and just jump right both feet in here. That's the problem with Oro Valley. Having lived in Oro Valley now for 22 years, that's our problem. I don't see a lot of like genuine leadership stepping up with, and I don't know what the solution is other than a whole bunch of new people.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, so that's why we're talking about it, is because a lot of businesses and stuff are real close to each other. I mean, that line is like Thornydale, maybe a little bit east of it.
And you know what, David? On this particular matter, it's important. Don't misunderstand me. It's really important. But it's not nearly the top of the topic, so it just keeps getting. There's probably not. Oro Valley's got, I don't know, 55,000 people, 50,000, let's say. There's probably not 1,000 people even know what we're talking about. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
There's too many other issues and situations that we deal with. Not that Oro Valley's got a lot of problems. Actually, we have few problems. We're stagnant in Oro Valley. We're built out.
Yeah.
We're stagnant. We're not moving.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, that's the way the powers that be kind of want to keep Oro Valley.
Yeah. It's also, but that was interesting to see how much money they would lose. The town of Oro Valley is going to lose on tax revenue because of the lead generation problem for the hotels.
Well, that's just at this point that's a theory number. So you can throw numbers around all day long.
I know.
Come on.
Yeah. But anyway, Snoop Dogg can save it, so let's bring him in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of outside investors, I hear Snoop Dogg's coming to invest into the Tucson community.
That is correct, my friend. He's going to be sponsoring the Arizona Bowl, right? And as a huge Arizona Bowl fan that I ain't, I was not surprised by what has happened. What happened to Barstool, man? I mean, I thought that was good. I'm just kidding.
I'm out. I'm out. Just out of there. Come on.
What do you got, Scott? What do you got?
Oh, man. I was looking to get educated, actually, because we were talking this morning, and you're talking about Barstool and why they are no longer sponsoring the Arizona Bowl. And I think there's a little drama behind that. If you could maybe help catch us up a little bit.
I don't remember.
Just something was said by leadership at Barstool that the town didn't, or the city didn't like, and agendas are agendas, and things changed, and it's just an interesting corporate sponsor. I mean, I thought there was a lot of places you could go to that maybe would want to do that. I remember it used to be Nova, right?
Yeah,
what happened
to
Nova
before that?
Yeah.
Hey, it's one of
I'm just here to crack
87 bowls.
I'm here to crack jokes, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I came in today kind of fired up about it. First off, Snoop's music isn't bad. You know what I mean? I think it should have been I don't know what's going on with the deal, but perhaps the deal should be that you get to sponsor the Arizona Bowl, but you also get to play in the halftime show.
Oh. Well, again,
I mean, I'm hoping that was the deal. I think that would be really cool.
I got nothing on Snoop, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't have any problem with Snoop, but I just am very interested on.
I couldn't.
Where's Ice-T at? Is he gonna get the one in Phoenix? I mean, what are we doing here? You got to be kidding me, man. Oh. You know what, Snoop? If you want to sponsor our show, that's cool too.
Dude, Snoop's welcome in the studio. Come on.
Snoop, you can. I will wrap my car with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
If you want to sponsor me. I drive pretty often in this area.
Let me show my ignorance, because I have no clue.
I was hoping you would chime in eventually, because I wasn't going to go anywhere on it.
Well, I got nothing for. I got no Snoop.
Fish, line, sinker. Let's go.
Yeah, but did he do a song? See, it's not songs. It's something else. It's
it's
rap.
Songs.
No,
How dare
it's
you?
not. But
it's art.
He did something called Gin and Tonic or something, right? Is that
phenomenal.
Is that a song?
Yeah.
Is that a title?
It's phenomenal. Yeah.
So see, there's my Snoop Dogg reference.
Gin and Juice is actually what it's called, but Gin and Tonic. I mean, if we want to go back into your era, that's fine.
Gin and Tonic. Gin and Tonic. I don't even know what. Yeah. I don't even know where to go with this. You want to talk Haggard and Jones and all that? Then.
Hey, I'm looking at a new feature for us, and I'm trying to Google search what Mr. Dave Portnoy said.
I can't share with us.
Yeah, share with us. I can't read it.
Is it coming in?
I could see it on the screen. It's just the text is so small because you have both.
You're going to have to read it to us.
We need to get another TV in here. I don't think 3 was enough, so I think we need to get more.
Okay, well, it says Barstool Sports became the sponsor in 2021. However, citing the platform's numerous controversies, including inflammatory statements.
Oh, someone's feelings were hurt.
Inflammatory. The Beaman County Board of Supervisors elected to pull its $40,000 in funding. Well, I would imagine that Snoop Dogg could make up. I bet you he's got more than $40,000 to hook up the town with.
So it was just a general overall.
Well, let's see see if you can find why the city of Tucson stopped funding it too.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Because I know that city of Tucson, Visit Tucson.
But there was nothing specific. It was just general overall. We don't like Dave.
Well, inflammatory statements, though.
Well, okay, now
My feelings were hurt.
Hey. Again, no, I'm totally.
You know what's going to be funny is I'm going to look it up and it's like, oh, Dave was a huge fan of Klan rallies, and then we'll be like, oh,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
inflammatory.
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you guys both a
I would
question.
say that's probably
Both
very
of you,
unlikely.
Obviously, big Snoop Dogg fans. Just throwing that out there. You think Snoop hasn't thrown a few that
Bones?
would be thrown a few
Snoop Dogg bones?
Gotten hot water a few times over a few things.
Yeah, just a couple.
So is that why? Is that how we're going to start?
Well, no. So it doesn't. No.
See, that's back to the point.
Yeah.
It doesn't
don't
fit
go,
the
don't go
narrative.
down that road now.
No, it doesn't fit the narrative.
Don't you dare.
It doesn't fit
Go
the
down
narrative.
that road, Clint.
We you know.
I do want to say thank you to Snoop Dogg for investing in Tucson.
Well, I got no problem with him at all coming.
Yeah.
Do your
Keeping
thing.
some money. Some
Here's
people
why,
get paid.
You know
It's
why I
good.
have no problem? I don't care about what we call it, the
Arizona Bowl?
Arizona Bowl. I'm sorry. You know, 88 bowls of winter is just not my bag. I'm going to watch 2 or 3 of the big ones and be done with
Well,
it.
yeah, it's the playoffs now. I think once the playoffs came into play, it was kind of everything else is just. I mean, if you're
Everybody
bored,
has their favorite, and everybody
Yeah.
wants to go, and I get that. But
Yeah.
and that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan like I used to be.
Yeah.
So
What do you comes in like that? Oh man.
So he said some inflammatory stuff that really isn't necessary to repeat on our family show. But one of the things that Mr. Dave supported is that, you know, people have been trying to cancel me for 2 decades and I'm uncancelable. So apparently this dude, according to a source that we use quite often, the South China Morning Post.
No. Yeah, it's a subscriber.
Yeah, exactly. We get those extra perks, and he said some stuff and inappropriate, but you know, so the town and your board supervisors are going to do what they have to do, and now we get Snoop Dogg in here, and we'll see what Snoop Dogg can do for the community. I hope it's good things.
Yeah,
I'm sure he will. You know, he does have a pretty awesome football program.
I was going to say he's got a youth football
and stuff like
program
that.
is phenomenal.
I think it was cool. I saw a couple years back that he was a pretty decent receiver.
What's his real name? Darius? Is it Darius?
Oh, come on, Clint.
I don't know.
You're talking about Darius Rucker? That's
No.
Hootie.
No. I know that. But
Okay, can we get? You know what? I don't know Snoop Dogg's
Isn't that
real
his
name.
real name? No, isn't his real name Darius?
I only know him as Snoop D-O-double-G. That's all I know. That's it.
Help us out there, Scott.
It is Calvin Broadus.
Oh, Calvin. Yes, Calvin. Yeah.
You weren't even close, man.
I wasn't even in the ballpark.
Dude, this me looking stuff up online is going to be a game changer.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
We're
Dude,
going to
you're
be
on
like
fire, man.
actually informed.
Yeah.
Hey, the joy of going live. Hey, you know, before we get completely down a rabbit hole and we're wrapping
You got
up,
somewhere to go there? I missed
somewhere
the
to
memo
go.
on the dress shirt today.
Yeah, I do. I didn't bring the jacket in, but
You look good.
You know, Heather Lappin. I want to go back to her real quick as we close out. A pleasure to have her in the studio.
Yeah,
I met Heather briefly a couple other occasions in passing, and it was great to hear her backstory. It's encouraging because most great leaders really never sought the job,
right?
And it encourages me. And this might put a big target on our back, but knowing a lot of people in that department, it's a mess.
Yeah, and it is. It is. I hear a lot of things. What time you got to leave today?
Right now.
You got to leave right now.
Why?
I was just wondering. Well, we usually go to 10.
Oh, okay.
I'm just. I don't know. We can leave whenever we want. But professional question, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Before we leave, professional question.
Mm-hmm.
When you air fry French fries, how do you get them out of the air fryer?
What do you mean?
When you air fry French fries, how do you get them out of the air fryer?
Don't you have one of them little paper baskets?
You just go in there and grab the paper?
Yeah.
Like, even though it's hot?
It's not hot.
The metal's hot. Why is everybody hand jamming everything? What do you do, Scott?
As a person that's never used an air fryer, I can't really chime in on this one. But
hey, they're pretty awesome.
Do you need an air fryer?
Firefighters are impervious to flame. So we just go right in there and just grab things.
So
and
are
just pull 'em
bakers.
out, and it works out fine.
That's something we have in common, then, Scott.
Okay, well, I've been dealing with a personal issue with this question.
Yeah.
Don't
you use a little?
I do, but the whole outside of the air fryer is blazing hot.
No, it's not.
It is horribly hot. It's 400 degrees hot.
The outside? 400?
No, where the basket goes inside of the air fryer.
I don't know.
So everybody's okay with hand jamming.
Yeah. I guess you get some mitt. You know
I
what?
bought
Get some welding.
tongs.
Get some welding gloves.
What?
Get some welding gloves.
Welding gloves. Oh my gosh.
They're form fitting.
What's wrong with tongs?
Well, there's nothing wrong. Do you use tongs?
Yes, I use tongs, but
Successfully?
apparently I'm the only person out of 4 people I've asked that use tongs. Everybody else just hand jams.
Yeah. Well, first off, I don't do fries, so that's out. But I'd fish and warmed up pizza. And
okay.
So I'm not a potato
So you just
guy.
go
in
and
pull them out.
Okay, the baskets are a game changer, though. I actually was not using those for like a whole year.
Yeah.
And I was washing the air fryer after everyone. And then someone was like,
that.
"Hey, hold on, dude.
Come on.
Here's
That's
these
what I was
baskets."
doing.
Yeah. And then like, no, you don't have to wash it.
Yeah.
You just put it in there.
And you can use them if you're like doing the same thing. You can use them a couple of times. You don't have to completely discard them.
You can use them?
Yeah,
a couple times.
A couple times.
Dang it.
As long as it's not like, you do something real greasy, you probably don't want to use that the next time in, but,
Okay. Well, I learned a lot today about a lot of
like
people.
Little tacos or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what? I got my question answered, and we had a great episode today. And again, thank you, Heather Lappin, for Sheriff. If you're looking to support her campaign, go and do that. If you're looking to support local Marana, we encourage you. Before we step out today, I wanted to let you know that we are going to be launching our subscriber platform.
Little cheers right there, Scott.
For a small fee every month, you can subscribe to us on Facebook. You're going to get content only you are going to have access to, and you're going to get benefits that only you are going to have access to. What are the benefits? It's easy. You're going to have discounted prices at some of our local Marana businesses that have opted in to help, and you're also going to have some other perks like some specific merchandise that will be available to you, and we're going to be doing tons of giveaways for our subscribers. The cool part about it is if you walk in somewhere, just show them that you're a subscriber badge to the participating places, and you get a discount.
It's going to be a fun summer.
It is. It's going to be good. We're going to do this for the summer, and we will release the restaurants and other businesses that are a part of this soon, and we look forward to having you as a subscriber of Local Marana. Thanks again.